Today's topic of discussion is minimalistic lifestyle. So if you look at today's society, both men and women, they are living extremely miserable lives. They're chasing after all of these materialistic possessions. They're chasing after the big house, flashy car, all these holidays, you name it. And they always want to consume more and more, and they want to gain more materialistic possessions. So we're going to be discussing some key points in terms of why following the minimalistic lifestyle is going to give you peace of mind and it's actually going to benefit your life. So first point is consumer. People in society, right, all they do is consume all day long. So they'll consume, let's say, food. So they'll eat all of these sugary processed foods. They'll overindulge in it. They'll buy all of these materialistic possessions. So like, all these designer outfits, jewelry, cars, house, you name it. And then let's say social media. They'll consume social media all day long. This is what's happening with pretty much majority of people in society. Majority of people, all they do is consume all day long. And when you're a consumer, you're going to be constantly chasing after and trying to fulfill your desires and temptations. Now, that vessel, can that ever be filled? The answer is no. It can never be filled. It can never be satisfied. So the thing is, right, in life, you have to take a step back and realize that, okay, if people are doing this, and people are chasing after all these things and putting so much weighting on these materialistic possessions, are they actually of value? 9 out of 10 times, they're not of value, and they're not going to actually give you fulfillment. What gives you real fulfillment in life is pursuing your purpose, chasing after your purpose, providing value to society, helping people who are in need. And studies have even shown it as well in terms of satisfaction and people who are the most happiest in the world. People who actually give to charity the most and people who actually help other people in society, these people here are the most fulfilled in society. It's not the people that you're seeing with all the supercars and the flashy lifestyle, and they're always trying to chase after money. Those things come and go in life. And when you're somebody who's always chasing after consuming everything, that's going to lead to your downfall in life. Because you're never going to be satisfied in that arena. You're never going to actually come home and realize, oh, okay, today was actually a fulfilling day. I actually helped people. You won't experience that. Reason being is because all you've been focusing on is chasing after tangible items. Things that are literally going to stay here. That's why you see time and time again, right? These rich people, they get all of these items, right? So they got the house, they got the cars and so on. And then as soon as they become ill, all they're thinking about is trying to get their health back now and trying to get their time back. But they can't get it back. So you're only given a set amount of time in this world. And the amount of money, for example, that you get is given to you by God to test you, to see what you're going to do with that money. There's verses in the Quran which talk about this as well, that God does not like people who waste their money, who waste, food, who spend excess amounts on whatever it is. If you look at the best example, which is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and how he had access to funds which were related to the Islamic Empire. So he had access to all the funds, but he lived the most basic lifestyle. He lived below his means. So when you live below your means, you're somebody who's always going to stay objective. The reason why people go crazy when they, for example, get X amount of money, and then let's say with the lottery, they get the lottery, and then they end up blowing all of their money, is because those people there lost track of what money is actually supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used to buy necessities and to actually provide value to society. It's not buying all of these possessions, and then when you've ended up buying all of those things, it's just going to be there on the sidelines. And then you're like, oh, okay, let me get that car now. So let's say you get a Ferrari, right? You get a Ferrari, you're driving around for a month, 2 months. And this will happen to many people. They end up buying these expensive cars, right? And then, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line, they end up getting bored with it. They're like, oh, nah, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But if you keep your consumption down and you keep it below, you're always going to stay objective. And you're going to actually be able to make correct decisions in life. So, next point is priorities. People have got their priorities wrong in life. So, when it comes to getting, let's say, money, they're thinking to themselves, how much money can I spend and go on this holiday and gain these experiences, rather than actually using that money towards building their own infrastructure, building their own household, being able to support their family. Now, some of you are going to be asking, Omar, you can do both, isn't it? Well, the thing is, right, in life, everything comes with an opportunity cost. From what I've seen, right, a lot of guys, in particular the beta males, all they do is spend money all day long. They'll spend their entire paycheck and then they'll be back to broke, square one again. And then once they've worked the whole month, they'll get the next paycheck and blow it all as well. And they'll just keep repeating that cycle again and again and again. When are people actually going to wisen up and realize that if you don't actually live below your means and actually get your priorities right, you're never going to do well in life? That's what I've seen, especially when it comes to youngsters. Youngsters, all they do is spend all day long. So they'll spend on, let's say, the haircuts. They'll spend on finance cars. They'll go out to eat to all these restaurants. They'll order Uber Eats. They want to get their flipping games or games consoles. The newest PlayStation games. Everything's just spending. And then when they look at the end of the month, their bank account's empty. So what rich people do is they accumulate money, right? So let's say earned income, and then they use that earned income and then they invest that into appreciating assets. So an asset can be, let's say, your own business. So you've got your own business, right? You're buying products and you're selling, let's say, products. Or it could be a service. You're selling services. Let's say you've got a website, you've got an app. All those things cost money. But guess what? Those are assets to your business. And then that's going to appreciate in value. And then your net worth's going to increase and so on. That's what rich people do, and that's what people who are actually smart with their money, because they got their priorities straight. But the beta males, all they want to do is spend their entire paycheck. And then when they go bust, right, they're trying to flex. Flex with all the finance cars, flex with the materialism, trying to pretend to look rich when they're not. You see a bunch of these guys on social media pretending to be rich and pretending to be like, oh yeah, I've got X amount of money. Like, a lot of these guys are claiming that they're earning six figures when in fact they're not. So if you look at the stats, right, so the UK stats, about 50% of all people in UK are earning above £25,000. 50%. And then 25% are earning £41,000 or more for the year. 25% of people. And then 10% of people are earning above 63k. That's what the UK stats are. So these guys, right, who are claiming that, oh yeah, we're earning X amount, this and that, less than 10% of them are actually in that category. So 90% of guys on social media are chatting rubbish and talking BS. It's like less than 10% of people are earning above 100k. Like less than like flipping 3, 4, 5%. So 90+% of people are chatting rubbish. They're lying. So who are these guys actually trying to fool? They're fooling themselves. You know, they're not fooling anyone else. This is what the problem is. When these guys here, right, are blowing all of their money on all these experiences, but when it comes to, let's say, their own household bills, their family's bills, they're struggling to pay that. They're asking for loans from other people, asking for handouts, because they got poor money management. It's because they're not following the minimalistic lifestyle of actually prioritizing, removing all these materialistic items and actually coming to this world with what you've got. So the necessities and getting by. You know, so obviously treat yourself once in a while, but keep it to a minimal. So when you keep it to a minimal, you're going to be more satisfied with other areas of life. You're going to actually start prioritizing relationships and actually your, you know, family relationships, community relationships, you know, with your partner and so on. Those relationships are going to matter. They're going to be more important because you've got your priorities straight. So that leads us to the next point when it comes to evil eye. Evil eye is a real thing. The more you show to the world, the more jealousy and envy that brings to you. When people think that you're not doing well in life, you're barely getting by, people ain't going to look at you in a certain way. They're not going to give you flipping evil eye and casting spells upon you. Now some of you might be watching this and thinking, oh yeah, that's not true, this and that. You know, well, you'll see how when you do, let's say, get all these materialistic items and gain all these experiences, you start showing it to, let's say, social media, you'll see in a year's, 2 years' time, how things start to go bad. You start to experience all these problems related to people trying to take what they can out of you. Because that's what it comes with. The more you show to people, the more you show like, oh yeah, I've got X amount, this and that, the more people want from you. And that's what's happening time and time again. If you see these guys, right, you know, athletes and all these influencers and so on, they get millions and millions. And these people here, they're the most dissatisfied people in life. They're saying it even in the interviews that, oh, all people want from me is just money. People just want favors from me. You know, people look at me in a wrong way. When I'm driving, let's say, a Ferrari down the road, people are screwing their faces at me. You know, if you're going to, let's say, a petrol station, petrol prices have gone up, right up now. Putting petrol into your car. Someone's looking at you from across the other side. He's filling up his flipping Toyota or whatever it is. And then he's looking across at you. And then before you know it, you're getting into an altercation with him. You're getting into a fight with him. You know? Because that guy there is giving you evil eye. And he's giving you evil eye, then you ended up having an altercation with you. You know? So this is what it is. Even, let's say, related to health. So you could have all these things, right? And then you start to experience health problems. Health problems was a result. One of them can be a result from evil eye. People giving you evil eye. So there's a hadith which mentions this as well. How Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that evil eye is a real thing. So don't try and boast to other people. Don't try and show off to other people. And if you don't do those things, you're going to actually follow the best example, which is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So, final point is peace. So, following the minimalistic lifestyle, you're going to have more peace of mind. You're going to actually have a clearer vision because you've got less possessions that you need to control or that you have possession of. So the possessions there, and then you haven't got the possession of them anymore. You've just literally gotten rid of them. You're going to have less things that you're going to be focused on. You're going to be focused on more on relationships, connection with God, and so on. That right there gives you ultimate peace in life. When you're actually buying all these things, storing them all up, there's something within you that's just not giving you peace. It's not giving you peace of mind. Because there's people out there who ain't got no food, who ain't got no house, and so on. So you got some people, right? There's one person, they're living in a mansion with 10 rooms in it. And then you've got other people who are on the street with no rooms. They ain't got no house or anything. I think like Tupac, he said the same thing. There's literally people like that in today's world where they've got all this excess amount of money, excess amount of wealth, and they're just at home by themselves. Some of them have divorced from their partner. Their kids don't want to know them. But from the outside, it looks like, oh, this guy's doing really well for himself. He's got a mansion, he's got a car, he's got so on. But they don't know his actual real life. His real life is really sad. So that's why you need to look at yourself and realize that, let's say you're not earning a high amount of income, you're not, doing really well for yourself financially, and you haven't got these materialistic possessions, and then you see somebody who has those things. There's one thing that there's one thing that he hasn't got that you've got. So let's say you've got good health. He hasn't really got good health. He's somebody who's older. He's like 50, 60 years old. You're somebody who's 20 years old. You've got youth. He hasn't. He may be experiencing breakdowns in his marriage. He may be experiencing breakdowns when it comes to his family ties, his family relationships. But you've got good relationships with your family. And that's why playing a comparison game, it never leads to anything. It never leads to peace of mind. You're always going to be dissatisfied. So that's why if you look at people who have less than you in the world, you're going to start to actually appreciate what God has given you. Because that's what it is. Everything that's given to you is given by God. So you guys here need to show appreciation for that towards Him. Because if you don't, it's going to get to a point where God's going to take those things away from you. And then you'll end up hitting rock bottom. And that's what happens to many of these influencers, these athletes, all these guys who go around flexing and so on. You'll see them in a year, 2 years, 3 years time. They've got health problems, they've lost their money, and so on. And there's many examples like that in history as well. So, just to wrap up, people who consume all these materialistic possessions, they're trying to gain all these experiences. These people here are the most dissatisfied. Studies have shown it as well. They're the most miserable in life. You can never ever satisfy that vessel, that stomach. You can never be full from eating all these processed food, for example. You're just going to keep eating and overindulging until you actually make the conscious decision to stop. That's how people end up gaining so much weight. They end up getting really fat. It's because they ignored that. As soon as their body was telling them they're full, they're like, nah, I want to eat more. And then before you know it, they're like eating. They're gaining all this weight. And then they're experiencing health problems from that. And the next point after that was priorities. The beta males haven't got their priorities straight. They're thinking short term. They're thinking, oh, if I flex with this money right now, and if I flex with the finance cars or buying all these designer outfits, if I flex with that now, then I'm going to be more satisfied. And then what happens is when let's say get a partner, they end up having children, they want to live in a certain environment, they're not going to be able to afford it. Because they blew all their income on all these materialistic possessions. And the next point after that was evil eye. Evil eye is a real thing. When you experience evil eye and you're cursed with it, that can affect all your day-to-day activities. That will literally stop you from progressing and being productive. So to get less evil eye from other people, you got to live below your means and live a basic lifestyle. And that will prevent a lot of other altercations with people. And then the final point was peace of mind. That's what it is. If you guys here, right, if you actually follow the minimalistic lifestyle, if you research the health benefits, the overall benefits of this lifestyle, you'll come to see that this right here gives true satisfaction. You start to see things objectively and clearer. You'll start to prioritize more important things in life. So your connection with God, which is the most important. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.